Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the 5 to 9 job. I'm Raymond, and today we are talking about a very touchy and controversial subject: how to balance a full time job, a side hustle, and personal life without burning out. Anyway, all around my LinkedIn and YouTube, I see all these guys saying you have to have balance in your life, this whole work life balance. I wish I hadn't worked as hard as I did in my 20s, my 30s. And I look at that and I sincerely, I don't know, I wince. And it has come at a time when our generation thinks that hustling and working hard, and this vision that people like Elon Musk portray is crazy and toxic. Guys, man is the richest guy on earth as I speak. So, just look at, let's say, great actors, whatever name comes to mind, the Denzel Washingtons, the Tom Cruise. These guys have hours and hours of practice. They have failed auditions. That's all hustle. Okay, look at the best sportsmen: Kobe Bryant, Federer, Tom Brady, Serena Williams, Lewis Hamilton, Ronaldo. None of them got there through life work balance. It's even worse for women because they have to give up a lot. They have to give up not having kids for some time. Men have to stay away from their families. People are getting divorced. And unfortunately, that's why we all know their names. They have gotten there because they have sacrificed and worked more than others. They have worked and given beyond. So it is just sad that there is this whole illusion that has been made by content creators because we told them that that's what we want, and through the algorithms. So I might have lost a lot of people by this point, but I'm going to say it again. If you want an extraordinary life, you are going to have to do out of the ordinary things. You're going to have to be out of balance. Now, toning down on the energy I've been giving you guys. I'm sorry. But that was that. Even for most of us, let me say, running a couple of things concurrently is going to be hard. You may not want to be a Bill Gates, but you want to be, or you have your own dream. You are working a job, and you're doing something else. It could be raising a family, running a business, and dealing with all that life is throwing at you. Basically, if you have ever felt like there just aren't enough hours in the day, then trust me, you're not alone, and this episode is for you. So how do you balance all that, regardless of the fact that you're not shooting for the stars, yes, but you just still have things that nag you, and you have this feeling of time not being enough? How do you make sure that it is possible? And today I'm going to share some strategies that have sincerely worked for me. So yeah, let's workshop them and see what we come up with. Okay, so life work balance. We all have to agree first that true hustling isn't about running yourself into the ground, right? We are not working ourselves all out intentionally just to drain ourselves. That's not what it is. And I'm going to say it's about creating harmony between the things that you are doing. So it could be between your work, your passions, and your life, or whatever that you have on that list. It's just a balancing act. And that's what true hustling is. It's having all these moving parts, but creating harmony between them so that you are able to do all of them, or at least able to be better than most. Yeah. So I create content, so forgive me on the analogy, but I like to think of this balancing act as a tripod. So if any of you have recorded with a camera or anything, or have seen someone recording with a camera, that whole stand that they either mount the microphone on, or they mount a camera or something like that. That thing with three legs, or you could use a stool, yeah. And I'm going to also use the work analogy, and I'm going to use three facets or three buckets. So I'm going to use work, as one leg, business as another one, and then life as the third one. So literally, those are the three legs it is standing on. That is the analogy I'm using. Each leg is important, and when one gets neglected, the whole thing is going to like literally wobble. So let's start with work. Your job is definitely going to be your foundation, or at least for most people, it is their foundation, including myself. You see, your job or your work or the things that you are doing as your career is going to provide you with the stability and the resources to support these other dreams and other things that you are doing. So instead of, and I see this very common with people, instead of seeing your job as something that is holding you back, you need to start to think of it as this sort of launchpad for your ambitions. I mean, I am literally using my career and everything else in the background to fund this podcast currently. My investments are being funded by my 9 to 5, and my entire lifestyle is literally all based on that. So the career that you have or the job is going to first of all build the foundation for all the others. So it is going to be like the strong leg on the tripod or anything, if you to go back to that miniature analogy that I had. So when you are dealing with stress, when you are feeling like, that whole part is out of balance, usually it is stress. Try to avoid that negative connotation that most people have about their jobs. Just try to avoid it because it is generally actually going to put you out of balance. So find small ways to appreciate and enjoy, or at least like what you're doing. It is going to help you a lot. And that is the one piece of advice I can give you to keep that whole bucket in check. When you are feeling stressed, when you are, or some things are not going right in your work life, please do not catastrophize what is happening. Try to appreciate and then enjoy the little that is going right so that you have the mental capacity to go on and do the other things, to go on and look at the three other legs, in other words. Okay, the next one, talking of the three other legs, is your business in this case. So the side hustle, the passion project, it could be whatever you call it. These are usually areas where your creativity and drive is going to come alive. So for me, in my case, it is the podcast. And here is the key on this one. You need to be intentional with your time when you are dealing with a passion project or a business or a side hustle. Be very careful the time you give to it and invest. My personal experience on this is that I usually give the pod a lot of time that than it should have. So I have to remind myself to like tone it down a little bit. You could start editing a script and then you edit another and you edit another one, and it's just supposed to be like finishing up a report. So it is very easy with these passion projects and side hustles to lose track of time. So the one thing I have seen help me or work for me in this bucket specifically is to not lose track of that time, to be intentional with the time that you're giving this project. So time block and just stick to it, be it a business. I mean, go out and use tools to automate, delegate when possible, and then just focus on what truly moves the needle, those activities that are going to help you to scale. And please just be cognizant of the time that you are giving to this second leg. Finally is life. So in this life bucket, what or life analogy, the things I have added are things like your health, your relationships, and your personal well-being. This one is a bit complicated because it's a bit wide, but without this one, none of the other pillars literally matter. Without you having this one pillar in check, the others are not going to really matter to you. So finding or scheduling time to, recharge, to connect with loved ones and care for your body, in other words, to care for your body and mind could help you in making sure you are taking care of this part of your life. You have to be careful actually. On this one, the tip here is to be careful not to neglect this area, because I have found that activities in this bucket are what I tend to write off the most. So I have developed a list of non-negotiable activities that trump everything else, so that When I have blocked out time, let me say like to sleep, I'm not going to sacrifice that to, you know, work on the podcast unless I really need to. You get it? Because in most cases, I'll be like, after all, I can sleep up to what? And then I compromise on that and fill that time in with maybe a business or even with work. And the tip here I would give you is to just make sure you have non negotiables that you time block every day to make sure that you have this whole life bucket in check. So if it is your health, you have, let me say, a healthy meal, you're doing exercise. If it is your relationships, you're talking to your significant other, you are trying to maybe meet up with your friends. If it is your personal well-being, you are journaling, you are meditating, make sure you at least time block for the activities that are really important on this one. And that is what is going to give you the edge in the other buckets, because remember, none of the others can survive without this one. So I have an exercise for you guys, a fun one for all of you to try out. And I believe it will just help you to kind of see where the balance or the imbalance is and then try to work it out. So take a moment tonight to write down your priorities for each of the three legs or each of the three pillars or each of the three buckets. I used like a quadruple analogy, but yeah, just go with it as long as you understand that I used three: work, business, and life. So take a moment tonight and write down your priorities for each of the three. What is, let me say, the one thing you're going to focus on this week for work, for business, and then for personal life? And then make sure that once you write it down, you make sure you block time for it. One, and then make sure you actually wake up the next day with it on top of mind and do that. So it could be for the one thing you want to do this week, the one thing you want to do tomorrow, the one thing you want to do this month, the one thing you want to do every day. Just write it down for the three buckets: for work, for business, for life, and make sure you do it. Okay, I think that is all I have to say in regards to this. But just remember that balance doesn't mean giving equal time to everything every day. You know, some days work may take more of your energy, other days your side hustle will take more, or personal life may need more attention. Let me say, like on the weekends. Be flexible, because the goal here is to adopt or take on all these things without losing sight of the bigger picture. And I guess that's it for this episode of the 5 to 9 job. If this resonated with you, please, please, please share it with a friend who is navigating their own side hustles and is trying to find balance. And don't forget to subscribe for more episodes on building the life that you want, one after hour at a time. Please like, please comment, and as always, I'm in your corner cheering for you. See you in the next episode. Bye bye.